Today on Doodlebud, we're going to go from a double broad to an oblique broad homegrown grind. Let's do this. I said I was going to do it. This is one of the pens that I said if I had a little more tweak to the nib, if I did something cool to the nib, I'd use the pen a lot more. So I got a double broad because I wanted to grind it to oblique double broad, and I never did it, so now I will do it. First, let's try it out. So this is the ACR Jumbo, I do mean Jumbo, Ebonite pen, and it has the Canwrite double broad with a touch of baby's bottom. That's why I wanted to do it as well. Okay, we got the writing sample. All right, that's where we're at. Let's see where we're going. Into this. We now have some lovely line variation. So this is the oblique double broad. So I talked about in a previous video, instead of just buying new pens all the time, there's got to be some that you have that you would adore, that you would use way more if you fix the thing with it that you needed to get fixed. So whether there was a problem, maybe it got scratched or whatever, it needs to be polished, so you do that. Maybe there's something wrong with the clip, it's loose, or I don't know. Usually it's the nib, right? There's something up with the nib. It's too dry, it's too wet, it's too scratchy, it's not what you want. Usually that's the issue. So with this one, I pointed out, double broad's great. It's very smooth and all this stuff, but I never write this big. This is huge. If I write regular size with this, it's illegible. So I bought this nib because I intended to grind it to make it cool, and I haven't. So I'm a man of my word, and I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to do the homegrown nib grind. I've never done an oblique version before, so here's my thought on how I'm going to do it. I did this to a Muji pen, so you can check out my other video. I am going to record it, but I'm just going to kind of race through it. But what I'm going to do, so that if this is my stone, let's say, to get that angle, instead of trying to tip the pen, keep the stone flat, and then tip the pen and grind that angle, 15 degree or 45 or whatever angle you want. You can, if it's your own nib, you can do whatever you want, right? Instead of trying to do this, I will tilt the stone. So I'll put something underneath it, and then all I have to do is focus on keeping the pen straight and my stroke straight as well, going back and forth on the stone that way. So that's gonna be my idea on how to do this. I've never done this, but that's my idea. Let's see if I have any clue whatsoever. So if I can find it, there we go. Here's where we're at now. So did the oblique, again, this is my first try doing an oblique. It's sort of okay, it's not too bad. I did leave tip-in material. That should be, flush, right? So that shouldn't have the tip-in material on there, but I did that because I thought if I really screw this up, there's a little bit more left to grind off, which I will have to do. When I went just to kind of break corners a little bit, I forgot to keep it at the angle to just round it just a bit for that smoother transition when you're on your strokes. I didn't want it to be super, super crisp, but it has to be oblique anyways. But I was just kind of doing it like I do a stub, so I forgot about the oblique part for a couple of little adjustments I was making. So it's off just a little bit, but it's not too bad. It's definitely bearable. Okay, thought I'd take a quick second to write a little bit nicer off camera, just so you can see it. So now this is the oblique double broad. All right. And I thought I'd do a quick comparison because I happen to have an Esterbrook J series that I've picked up and it has a factory oblique broad nib on it. So that's kind of cool. So let's just see how they are. All right, so you can see the swirlies there. A little bit, they're pretty close actually. The line width, you can get it wider if you just grind it down more. So I didn't go aggressive as I definitely could have on here, and also on the Esterbrook, for example, all the tip and material, it's ground back. So I do have some more meat to work with on here. But again, like I said, this is my first attempt. So you can see how grotesque that is up top. Looks pretty bad, right? The angle is there, but that blob is not quite even. So as I rolled the pen a little bit as I was doing it. But yeah, that's why I didn't go too aggressive. So I could pull this back focus. So if I grind down a little bit more, a little deeper, it'll be a little wider. So that's the cool thing if you do it yourself. Maybe you want it extra wide or not as wide. You can play around and get used to it. So anyway, something to do when you're locked in your house. Can't go anywhere because everything's closed. You think, why not take my sharpening stones that I use for knives and grind some nibs? So I don't know if you got anything out of that. Maybe you learned, just don't do that. But there you go. That's how we do it. Catch you next time. Thanks for stopping by.